My goal at the end of the day, okay, for whatever people say about me, my goal is to just be right. That's the only thing I care about. I want the most correct position. That is always, everything I do is in service to the truth, is in service to being correct on a thing.
Destiny got absolutely butthurt after Joe Rogan called him a wiki warrior. Destiny pretty much spends this stream coping and making excuses. Obviously, because deep down, Destiny must know it's true. Let the coping begin.
Ben Shapiro should debate Destiny.
Oh my God! I know they did. They did debate.
Did they really?
Yeah, absolutely. They
About
did.
what?
Who hosted them? Was it Lex?
Was it?
I could be getting that wrong, but I think Lex hosted a debate like 2 months ago.
Well, he had a debate a couple of months ago, but it was a Palestine.
No, that
Israel
was separate.
debate.
I
Yeah.
also saw that.
Oh,
That was like the 4 hours. Yeah, there you go.
That guy debates everybody.
Yeah.
He's so ridiculous. He does
Yeah.
a Wikipedia search and then just starts going after things like he's an expert.
Yeah.
It's just it's a fun time. It's a really fun time.
Yeah.
It's a fun
It's
time
entertaining.
for watching people flail.
People who live in glass houses, man. Joe Rogan is probably one of the biggest misinformation spreaders I've ever heard. Funny story, I actually stopped listening to Joe Rogan on February 6, 2023. I was getting an MRI for a labrum tear, and the technician asked me, do you want to listen to music? And I said, no, you can put on Joe Rogan. So he puts on Strategic Geniuses, Crystal and Sagar. If you've ever had an MRI, you're stuck inside this machine. So for 20 minutes, I'm hearing these two misinform the public about military strategy in Ukraine. Oh yeah, those two are a real Patton and Bradley. Now, I've actually been on Destiny's podcast. And yeah, he does read the Wikipedia article. And because he read the article, he asks good questions, and he doesn't bring people on his show who misinform the public. An interesting video popped up about Joe Rogan and the streamer Destiny, and Joe Rogan said,
Thanks. Rogan and Schultz mentioned you in the same week. You should wear the title Wiki Warrior proudly. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if I don't know what I want to do for that. It's not like...
It's funny because, yeah, like Joe Rogan goes on there and he has a bunch of guests that a lot of times are wrong about things. But Joe Rogan doesn't present himself as an authority on anything. And like, unlike Destiny will be like debate people and then he'll go look it up online on his Wikipedia because he's the wiki warrior. And then he'll act like he's an authority. And then he'll chastise other people when they go on there and they're talking about things. And even if they're wrong, Destiny will be like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. But he'll act like he's the expert. When in reality, he's no better than them. They're getting all their information from the same place, which is the internet. So, I mean, and Wikipedia isn't like the most reliable. I'm not even sure if like in schools, like if you're even allowed to use that as a valid source. But that's the thing about Destiny is that he acts like he's an expert. But in reality, he's like really no better.
Like a good... It's not a good reputation. But it's also clearly not true. Like if you listen to me debate somebody, it's pretty obvious. It's not just wiki knowledge. But then a lot of people don't listen to the full debates, so I'm not sure. I feel like when people accuse you of being a wiki warrior, you don't seem to defend against it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with using Wikipedia as a starting point. Or even, to be honest, even if the only thing you know is the wiki, you actually know more than like 99% of people on the internet, including people in media. So it's not even bad to use as an ending point. Now, if you want to get really deep, it's better. However, I think there's something that you guys, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, I can't tell what you're aware of. When people are criticizing Wikipedia, they're not actually doing it from a place of knowledge criticism. They're doing it because they think Wikipedia has been compromised either by the Jews or by progressives or whatever, and they think that it's a biased and untrustworthy source as a result of that. That's technically the reason why people do it. Yeah. Maybe if you want to dispel that narrative, just say you use Wikipedia sometimes to develop a skeleton of knowledge for Israel. Well, I mean, that's what I do say. It doesn't matter though, right? Just ask them what you were wrong about due to Wikipedia. Yeah, but the problem is we don't have access to those people. What about for Hassan's community? Why do they say that? Because Hassan tells them to. What do you mean? I think it's both that and the depth of knowledge. I disagree. I don't know if I'm dating myself here, but like, I'm trying to imagine as a kid. Like, here's, actually, I can do this in literally one word. I can give you one word to prove my point, right? That when you were a kid, or now as a word you might say, a compliment that you can give somebody's knowledge is you can go, they have an encyclopedic level of understanding of something. Usually, like, if you were to say as a kid, like, oh yeah, I read the whole encyclopedia on this topic, nobody's going to be like, the encyclopedia? You're reading a secondary or tertiary source on things in order to... For a secondary source, wait. Wikipedia would count as a tertiary source, right? Because it's a compilation. Yeah. You're reading a tertiary source and you consider yourself informed on a particular thing. Nobody would have criticized you for reading an encyclopedia back in the day on that. And in some ways, you could argue that Wikipedia is superior in that there's not like the authorship is public and it's more that it's more transparent in terms of who can see who's editing what and everything, and it's up to date, right? Because it gets updated frequently. But
well, imagine arguing that Wikipedia is actually superior to encyclopedia. Who says that in their right mind? Now, I haven't cracked open an encyclopedia in like years. People watching, do you guys even remember, like, do you guys know what encyclopedia is? Or are you an old fart like me and knows what an encyclopedia is? But they are not the same thing. I don't know what qualifies a person to write an encyclopedia, but I'm pretty sure you have to be more qualified to write an encyclopedia than you do a Wikipedia entry. I'm pretty sure that you have to have more qualifications to do that. So imagine sitting here and arguing that Wikipedia is actually better than the encyclopedia, the left's favorite tactic. Not only are you wrong, but it's actually the opposite of what you think.
But yeah, I don't think it's a knowledge-related thing. I think it's more of a narrative-related thing for what people think happens on Wikipedia, what it represents, or whatever. Yeah. There's a whole host of things here that I can control. But then there's like images of me that appear publicly that are out of my control a little bit. And dealing with these are the challenging things. So like for myself, right? I mean, you have quite literally, I could do like a whole thing on this. I feel like I should write this down sometime. Actually, why do I keep saying we should just do it? Hold on, real quick. Okay, if I'm a public figure, there are things that I can do to control how other people view me. Oh, things within my control are also...
So people watch this, huh? People actually sit up and watch Destiny here, typing these little outlines, coping online, coping in real time. This is what people tune into Destiny for. If you guys are a fan of Destiny, why do you guys watch this? Who watches this?
Content I choose to publish. It can be YouTube, X... TikTok, Kick, whatever. Curated, clipped, what would we say? Curated content of me put out by other people. So this would be like X clips, especially groypers, small YouTube videos, etc. A lot of the stuff that negatively impacts me is here, and combating this stuff is very, very, very hard. Because the only way to combat external things is with external measures, right? These are things that I can control within my realm. So the people that listen to me, I can influence them here. These things are out of my control. So we have to do external pushes to deal with them. So for instance, that was why the other day when I was like, oh, but I need more TikTok and Twitter clippers. It's because the only way really to fight the external content is to either make it internal or to have your own external stuff. So it'd be other people putting out clips in you. This kind of dichotomy here, this plays into what I was talking about with Vosh. Vosh's big mistake is because Vosh and Hassan, although it's not as noticeable because he's larger, because Vosh has cut out so much external help. When people are doing bad things about Vosh or saying bad things. So for instance, if Destiny, ContraPoints, if anybody else is saying bad things about Vosh or curating Vosh content and putting it out, the only way to counter external stuff is with external stuff. And as Vosh closes himself off to other communities, he's losing that ability to externally control narratives or perceptions about him. He can't do it. So this is why growing the areas within your control and then pushing for more external stuff is so important. Are you ever worried that streaming your research will be used against you in a live debate, as opponents can pick out arguments and find niche attacks? No. My goal at the end of the day, okay, for whatever people say about me, my goal is to just be right. That's the only thing I care about. I want the most correct position. That is always, everything I do is in service to the truth, is in service to being correct on a thing. So somebody watches my research and as a result of watching it is able to counter something I'm saying, then then I was wrong on something. I'm okay with that. People always say that, though. People say that people could counter your stuff by watching it, but the reality is that's never, ever, ever happened before. There hasn't been a single time ever where that's happened. Where someone's like, oh, well, I saw that you were using that study. By the way, that study's been debunked. That's never happened before. Usually it's just people trying to find cheap rhetorical shots. Like,
he has been wrong in debates. I mean, he's going off on his January 6th tour. He's been touring around debating people on January 6th when clearly, he is wrong about January 6th being an insurrection. Objectively. The only people who believe that it was an insurrection are people who have been brainwashed by the media. And while Destiny might have some base points sometimes here and there, when it comes to January 6th, no, clearly he has TDS. Clearly he thinks that that was an attempted insurrection, and he's wrong on that. And when people point that out, that he's wrong, that no one's been arrested for insurrection, Donald Trump was never arrested for insurrection, never found guilty of insurrection. Same with anyone arrested in connection with January 6th. No one was charged with an attempted insurrection. So even with objective, just opinion aside, objectively, that is false. That is false. That is an insurrection. But I guess it's interesting to see Destiny coping live on the air with what Joe Rogan had to say about him, because in the end of the day, Destiny is just like everyone else that he sees on Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan doesn't fancy himself as an authority. He doesn't sit there and be like, no, I know everything and you know nothing. Joe Rogan has his opinions, and that's just it. He just has his opinions and thoughts on things. That's it. But Destiny here, not only does Destiny have his opinions and thoughts on things, but he thinks he's the actual authority. And that's the difference between a Joe Rogan and a Destiny. And that's why people get annoyed with Destiny, because at the end of the day, he's just a wiki warrior. That's it. He's not an authority on any of the things he talks about. What do you guys think, though? Do you guys think that Destiny is an authority? Or do you guys think that he is full of crap? Leave a comment down below. Give this video a like, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys later.